Greetings, my friends. I'm Ronald Sanders. I've worked since 1969 in many diverse areas in the cause of the economic development of Caribbean countries and in the social advancement of their peoples. In the course of that work, I have served with 3 generations of Caribbean leaders, and I have urged always that while each of the countries that form CARICOM should strive to improve their individual economic and social circumstances, they should all do so within a regional integration framework. Because, in the final analysis, each of them is too physically small, their populations too small, and their resources and control of them too inadequate for any of them alone to exercise any influence in the global community. These same factors dictate why none of these economies, especially the island states, can expand their economies at the pace that is needed to satisfy the needs of their people. Individually, they also lack modern technology and access to it, except at prices they cannot afford, to make their economies more competitive in the global market. Also, because of their dependence on aid and market access to countries such as the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the countries of the European Union, they are the objects of control by the agencies of these countries. The most blatant example of the last point is the crippling constraints placed by the OECD and the European Union on the financial sector of Caribbean countries. I do not argue here that significant social and economic progress has not been achieved by individual Caribbean countries since they became independent states. To one extent or another, except for Haiti, which has been stunted by its experience with countries such as France and the United States, and the usury of banks in the United Kingdom and Europe, each Caribbean country has improved its circumstances, some more than others. But that inequitable development of individual countries has created great inequities between Caribbean states, causing many of them to seek external alliances which constrain them from making independent decisions. Therefore, I offer this reflection as we start the new year of 2024. It's time to take stock of our strides, recognize the opportunities that were either neglected or discarded, and confront the dual challenge of advancing domestic well-being while bolstering our global standing. The choice remains the same as it always was. CARICOM countries either pursue a closer union, making themselves stronger together, or they each walk alone, knowing fully well that they will each be weaker, but gambling on good fortune to muddle through. That cannot be the basis for development. Since the 1960s, when Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana and Barbados embarked on separate pathways of independence, Caribbean countries have experienced fluctuating periods of economic and social development. Yet none have truly become independent. The steep price they have paid for cherishing individual sovereignty is clearly manifested in their lack of capacity to exercise influence in the world on the issues that matter to them. It is also evident in their inability to bargain, even for their sovereign right to decide their levels of tax so as to attract investment. The reality is stark. Despite commendable strides on the domestic front, CARICOM nations remain on the fringes of global significance. Economic growth is stunted, except in a few countries, which nonetheless remain shackled by burdensome levels of unsustainable debt. External shocks like the reverberations of the COVID-19 pandemic and the volatility of commodity prices further strain our fiscal capacities. The opportunity missed lies in the aftermath of the dissolution of the West Indian Federation. Caribbean nations opted for the allure of separate independence, a mistake that the United States did not make. The 13 original American former British settlements formed the Union, realizing that a strong government representing all the people of a federal state was the surest path to economic growth, civil law and order, and winning respect and recognition from foreign nations. Today, the might and power of the United States of America is the successful result of that union. While Caribbean nations have established joint institutions, they have fallen short of creating a legally binding political umbrella for dealing with critical challenges. They've also chosen not to uphold among the people of the Caribbean their single cultural identity, their shared history, and the importance of promoting unity in their quest for local development and international strength. None of us should believe that occasional economic successes are sufficient when the underlying structures of weaknesses remain. In addition to external challenges, we face internal political rivalries within states and among member nations. While diverse opinions on policy matters are essential in democratic societies, dismissing opposing views solely for narrow political gains undermines the essence of progress. The time is opportune for leaders across CARICOM, spanning government, opposition parties, the private sector, trade unions, and academia, to reignite the vision of a deeper integration and meaningful interdependence. Unequivocally, they should pursue regional development and national interests on parallel tracks, recognizing that each can contribute to the other. Pursuing national concerns to the exclusion of regional development is self-defeating. By transcending political rivalries and fostering a spirit of collaboration, CARICOM nations can harness their collective strength to navigate the challenges of 2024 and beyond. The vision of independence within interdependence remains an attainable beacon, promising a future of prosperity for the diverse and dynamic nations that constitute the Caribbean community. I cannot believe that it is beyond the creativity of our region to create a constitutional mechanism in which CARICOM countries can assign to a central agency composed of representatives of their member states to sustain unity that benefits all. That does not mean that national economic and social advancement cannot continue. They must. But to be sustainable and beneficial, they must be anchored in a framework of regional unity. Separateness and smallness simply will not do. Thank you very much for your attention.